Welcome to episode 6 of the ArtistMIND Podcast, and today we are joined by an amazing artist, Kate Wenderfer. Thank you, Kate, for coming on to the ArtistMIND Podcast.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
I love the setup that you have behind you with all your paintings, your throne,
I think
everything.
it moves. It moves with me.
And I like your friend back there, your little silver mannequin
Thank
back there. Well, you are the first non-music related guest on the ArtistMIND podcast. So you're paving the way for all of the visual artists. And I am being completely honest. I'm not blowing smoke up your ass. You are one of my favorite artists.
Yeah.
Picasso's up there, and then you're right up there. Picasso, Dali, and then you. Because every time I see your paintings, I get so inspired by it. And I think one thing that you do really well and that you kind of taught me even was showing the process and not
Yeah.
just this product.
Yeah.
And so it's really cool to see how you build all these paintings, and could you talk a little bit about that, about your process?
Yeah. So my art is mostly about process. It's about the process of making art. To me, is where the art lies in art. Everybody loves a finished product. They love to, see the end result. And I get that. It's just the world that we live in. People want things quick, and they want them to be something to see, right? But really, when you're making art, and you can relate to this in music, I'm sure, is that you lay down layers, right? And so all these things come from an idea that you have. So when you have ideas, don't be afraid to write them down, even if I have a notebook in my car, I have a notebook next to my bed. Ideas come to me all the time. And and I write myself notes, I text myself. When you're in the process of making art, you don't think about those things. You don't think about the ideas. You don't think about anything. You're really you're making the base for what you're going to create. So you don't always have to. Somebody once said that inspiration will find you, but it has to find you working. And I really believe that's true. When I'm creating my so not a lot of artists, they go to the store, they buy canvases that are pre-stretched, pre-gessoed. I don't know what type of wood that is. I don't know what type of gesso that is. I don't even know if it's gesso. It could just be white acrylic. But I to create everything and know exactly where it came from. When somebody has a piece of my art, even when I have my art, I can take it down and I could tell you at any stage in making art what that is from, just by the material, just by the type of wood that I used at the time, just by the canvas that I bought at the time or didn't buy. I mean, even right here, this is just random, but I have this because I have to refinish it for somebody. But this is when I was poor. This is wood. This is just cheap. This is from Home Depot. It's not. Art doesn't have to be made on anything in particular. I'm not saying go get stretcher strips and build your own, but when you do build your own and you do create this thing out of nothing, there's literally nothing there. You use the wood, you build stretcher strips, then you stretch canvas on top of it. These are all layers in the process where you really find not only inspiration, but you find yourself. You find you think about nothing but what you're doing, and your mind isn't wandering. At least not for me. It's really a focused part of the creation that I love, that I really enjoy. I go in the gym every day, a routine. So when I have an idea, now I have to start the routine that makes me where I am today. If a lot of artists have ideas and then it's just a lazy thought, oh, I'm gonna do this. Or have you finished that yet? Nah, not yet. But I have to bang it out. I have to get an idea, stretch my canvas. I know exactly what my next step in the process is always going to be. And then sometimes it gets fucked up, and that's fine. And then sometimes you have a completely different idea or it takes a new turn. But when you start with a solid foundation, and not just art, but mostly everything, then it's easier for you to stem off of that and create. So it was years of learning the process and really loving the process that these things, this doesn't just happen overnight. I don't sell art for profit. I could care less about the money. I have hundreds of paintings in the studio that I could care. People ask me all the, can I buy that? Can I buy your stuff on Etsy or Amazon? No, nowhere, because I don't, I don't make art to sell it. I don't care if you, but if you, eh, I don't know how to say it the best way. All I know how to say is that I create art for different reasons than money. I create art because I love it and I love to do it and I love the process and I love the persistence and things happen and there are mistakes all the time, but then it's fun for me to figure out where did I go wrong and how can I change this or fix this or create some, and you always end up creating something better when something goes wrong. It's crazy because then you're investigating the issue in your mind. How'd this happen? How can I prevent it again? Or how is this a happy mistake? And the process isn't, to me, the most important part of creating art, because that is where I lose myself and find myself at the same time. That's the beauty of it. And so most people see the end product and they're, oh my God, I love that. But it's, I cut my hand with a palette knife making that. And some of that red is actually blood, but you don't know that. But I know that. And I love that you love it. I don't know. It's just, I always try to hide little things in my paintings. If you haven't noticed, text, I do add text to my stuff so that it's usually a fluid thought that I'm having at the time that I create whatever, but I a lot of street art, graffiti art to express how I'm feeling at the time that I'm creating it or towards the subject or whatever. Or sometimes it's completely random because that happens too.
That's
So
so interesting as far as the process. Because when I think about painting, I think about the first thing you need is paint and paintbrushes. And no, there's a whole 3 steps before paint ever even comes into the equation. And
yeah,
and even going down to what you're talking about with, the canvas and stretching your own canvas, but not only just stretching your own canvas and doing the gesso and all that, but understanding what kind of wood that's on and how that plays into the, I guess the authenticity and the depth of what it ends up being starts right there. And that's just, I never would have even considered what kind of wood the canvas is. And so to have that much appreciation for the craft is, I think, really cool and admirable. And I think important because you said, if all you care about is making money and having that final product, then you really don't care about what kind.
money isn't anything. It's not a thought. It's not. So I need thoughts. I need to constantly have energy in my mind that I need to expel. It happens every day, but you have to live life to get that. I'm sure you get into your music. If you're writing a song, you're really into it. You kind of stay in that state of mind. And so when I'm creating art, I have to do the same thing. I have to be completely into what I'm creating
That
in
floats.
every aspect. And part of the aspects of it, the more you love what you do, the better the wood gets. And now I don't want to use that. Now I want to use, oh, what happens if I use cedar? I mean, it smells so good to cut. It's just that that possibilities are endless in art. You don't need paint, you don't need a canvas, you don't need gesso, you don't need anything. All you need is your hands and your mind, and you can create art anywhere. It's about grab some berries off of whatever, a tree, and paint your white t-shirt. I mean, you can do, when your mind is open, everything is available, if that makes sense. So for me, yeah, selling art, I don't care. I don't want anything of monetary value. So money doesn't, I don't want it. But I'll make a trade for a painting for sure. I've traded some awesome shit for paintings. But I do sell art because, I don't know, at some point you have to say yes. But it's hard. I love everything I make. And I mean, if I could show you around the corner of this place, it'd be insane, the amount of art that I have. But eventually I'll let go what I want and but I'm always making more. So it has to go somewhere. So sometimes I've got to sell shit off to make room for new stuff. But
Yeah, just to give your wall some space
I
to.
need some space.
No, I remember walking into your studio and it felt like I was walking into a museum because there was just so much incredible art. And I remember looking around and being, well, you know, what's all of these finished products doing here? And you're, oh, that's just the first layer. Oh, that's
Yeah.
a fully done painting. And you're, no, I'm gonna paint over that whole thing. It's gonna be in the background. I'm just and I never thought about that. How many layers and how many different feelings. And I know that one thing that that I remember is you always have multiple paintings going on at once in progress.
Always. Always. Yep.
And does
Yep.
that just keep you in that flow because
Yeah.
everything is right there? So as soon as you have that idea, you can just go straight from idea to execution.
Yes. So you said you remembered yes to all of that. What you said you remembered coming and seeing some of them up there. I leave up there. I've got 3 or 4. I call them my girls, my hoes. I keep them in the studio. And when I want one, I take one and I work on it and then I take the next one. But I constantly am working on those 4. When something's drying, then I grab that one. I always have to be doing something when I'm working. I'll work for 8 hours straight, but I'm not sitting. I mean, at all. I don't want to. When you're in the mood, you've got to create. You just have to let it out till it's out. So I grab one of those paintings and so you have music and you lay down layers, right? I'm sure you have songs on your computer that you haven't touched in a long time. And you're, man, I could do something really cool with this beat, but I don't know what I'm going to do with it. Well, yeah, that's what I do. And then I just keep adding stuff to that one. And sometimes it makes no sense. And then sometimes it makes a lot of sense because I've really thought about it and that one sat up there for a good amount of time where the theme is going on, but sometimes it's aliens and girls in stilettos on the same one. And sometimes it makes 0 sense, but some of those are the best ones that I think, in my opinion, that I make. They're just fun and there's a lot of thoughts on them. There's a lot of brain work on those things that look, oh my gosh, this is chaos, but it's not. It was in my mind till I let it out.
It's when I look at your art, I kind of see that chaos. And you mentioned having text and stuff, and it makes you kind of lean in a little bit because you see the text and you kind of want to read it, and you're, well, it's 3 4 layers deep behind the main thing that's happening. So you're kind of trying to peek through the layers of paint, peek through the curtains, try to read it. And then the more you kind of look into the depth of your paintings, the more and more is revealed. And I think you said some of those paintings that kind of pull from all these different inspirations end up being some of the best ones because there's just, at first glance, you see what's on the surface and you're like, okay, that's a painting of a girl in stilettos. Okay.
Yeah.
And we'll go deeper, deeper, deeper. And it reveals so much more, and it takes a second, and it kind of forces you to stop and look and contemplate and maybe even go through a journey of emotions as you continue to look beyond what's on that first layer. And it's so cool. I was thinking, because you were mentioning how I've got beats on my computer that I've worked on that are kind of there but aren't there. And I was just thinking about one of the songs on my first EP was that, where I had this beat for probably 8 months to a year, and I had played the guitar and I put the drums down and I kind of structured it out, and I even had melody ideas. I had these mumble melody ideas, and I was just, everything I was writing to was just kind of and I literally just put it away and didn't come back to it for months and months and months and months and months. And then I came back to it and I had something and I was able to build off of it from a totally different perspective,
Mhm.
you know. And
Yeah.
so it made me curious, what is the oldest painting that you have that isn't finished yet?
Me?
Yeah. Have you been working on it for like 4
It's
years?
right here. Can I get it?
Yeah,
Let
please.
me. Okay. This is so funny. So this is from high school. They didn't put mine in the hallway because it wasn't appropriate, but it makes this is so fucking funny because this is, I don't know, 30 years old. But it makes sense now with why I would make this, because all my chicks kind of look this. Even still, I'm making shit that looks this. And my art teacher was awesome. That's who taught me. Look, this is hand stretched canvas
Wow.
on wood as a kid. Oh, here, Kate Wenderfer, 05.
Wow.
That's pretty old. So this one's probably the oldest. And every time I walk past it, I don't even know how I still have this. I really don't. But
Still paint on it though? Is it still a work in progress, or is that one?
yeah, because every time I walk past this, I want to write graffiti in her background, and then I'm like, don't touch her. She's the oldest thing you have, and then I'll do it. But so
It wouldn't have
nothing
been
is
cool.
finished.
Yeah.
Nothing is safe on these walls. I can take anything down at any time and fuck it up, and I do. Sometimes I do. One time there was this plant, right? This one. And it was against the painting and the sun was coming in just perfectly. And oh my God, that would be sick if I painted the plant shadow on the painting. It's on the wall. And I did that. And it was really cool. And I don't have that one anymore because I sold that one, but I didn't care about it that much. As you can see, I painted on it. But yeah, sometimes nothing's safe around here. Sometimes I just pull it down so this one, I should put it somewhere I can't see it so much. So then I wouldn't worry.
Doesn't tempt you.
It's just funny. It's funny I still have it. And the whole thing is funny. That's so we had to do a caricature of our, whatever favorite star or something. And that's who I picked.
Who's this supposed to be?
Pamela Anderson.
Got it. Yeah, no, that makes sense.
So I guess
yeah. So you've been doing art obviously a very long time. How did you get your start, or what was it that poked the head out at you?
The best painting I've ever done to date, in my opinion, which I never think I'm not good. I'm just where I am, right? I'm never there. If I were to say one painting that was there, it was when I was 3 years old. My mom hung this painting I did up of this pig in our house. It was just a big pink pig with dripping nostrils, which is so crazy because everything I do drips. So it's that style. I didn't develop a style. Obviously, I was just making art, but that is where it started because that's where I was little. And then really, I had great middle school art teachers and a great program there. And then when I went to high school, I already loved art. I was already so into art, everything. And then that's really where I took off with art. I was really professionally trained. I had this artist, Mr. Marrero, and he was Italian, is Italian, lives in Italy again now, but I grew up in New Jersey. So this was in New Jersey school system. He was my art teacher. He was so tough. He smoked 50 cigarettes a class, door open, half in, half out, probably 10 cups of coffee. He was my favorite. He was awesome. He wasn't very nice, but he was so particular and taught me so much. That's where I learned to oil paint. Then I went into, I think it was the next year, we got this real artist woman come in, Jessica Shear. She was our art teacher. She's still fantastic. I think she lives in Germany now. I still kind of keep in touch with her, but she's definitely a working artist and still a teacher. And she was really the one that taught me so much. Took me to Costa Rica to paint with a couple other students. We painted this resort. It was awesome. And we used like watercolor. And that's where I learned real watercolor and technique. And that's really where it took off. Then, so I was already on my way because of real artists that were teaching me in school system, not like a teacher that likes art. These were real artists. They were painting stuff side by side with us. I was always like, I want to be able to do that. And a lot of my style comes from, I can say a few masters, but it won't matter. It really came from technique and learning properly from the very beginning. So I learned how to stretch this stretcher strip as a kid, you know what I mean? And so And he would always come over and bang on your canvas and say, like a drum, because it has to sound like a drum in order to be stretched properly. So people would have to redo it or whatever. But like, it's just tough teaching, real teaching. Because the kids that didn't want to learn art, they just dropped out. They just dropped off. You know what I mean? They stopped coming to after school art and we used to do art during lunch sometimes. They wouldn't come then they just drop off. You know what I'm saying? And the people that really loved art always stayed like with those teachers, like at lunchtime or whenever we could. They'd always have the doors open to the art room, right? So you could always go in there and work, which always created a safe, free space for myself to express myself. Like Jim didn't do that for me. I didn't want to change into shorts and weird. You know what I'm saying? Run around for a little and have people throw balls at you. Like, what is this? So for me, like going to the art classroom and music was always on. They always had coffee. I mean, it was just more my vibe and always has been. And I don't know. I guess I've just always been an artist. I saw this meme and I thought it was interesting because it was like, oh, my kid's going to be a doctor. And the parents are like, yeah, in the background. And then it's like, oh, my kid's going to be an artist. And the parents' heads are down. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
But it's not my parents encouraged it. That's why I kept doing it. Is I was discouraged as a child, which I think a lot of kids are. They're just discouraged to express themselves. Uh, that that's what really kept me doing it, is encouragement. I mean, from my family, from people in, my teachers that encouraged me to keep doing it, because honestly, you don't feel good at art as a kid. Do you know what I'm saying? You see other artists and you see art and you're like, man, I could never do that. Like this is so hard, but something that is so hard is so rewarding, I guess. I don't have kids. I don't have a husband. I don't have anything but like that. But what I have is art that I create these babies and I put them out into the world and they exist. I mean, art deserves to exist in people's spaces. And that's why I give things away and sell things, because it is important to have art in a space. It brings light. And if you're creating something and you're putting your energy into it, whether it's a song, whether it's a painting, your energy is now in that painting. Your energy is in that song. Every way you want to look at it, you created that. Do you know what I mean? So if you bring positive energy and you bring the energy that you have into your work, it will brighten a room. It will change the mood. And that is what art should do. Uplift people, change the mood in any room it's in. Um, you know.
I mean, you said it, like art is life, and
Mhm.
I know a lot of artists who um don't have kids, don't want kids. I'm one of those people. um and I think about it, I'm like, I could use this creative life energy and create a child, or I can create music and create
Mhm.
paintings, or um not to say that you can't do both, but like you're right. Like that is your legacy in a sense. That is your energy.
We're putting all of our energy into this. The things that take my energy away for me from my art, I tend to stay away from. Distractions. I don't need them. I don't want them. I really like peace. I don't know how to explain. I love kids. I just don't want them in my house. I don't know how to say, but yeah, you're still putting things that take away your energy. They take away from your work, but sometimes what's bad for your heart is good for your art type thing. So sometimes the stress of everyday life, I think everybody should have a creative outlet. I think it's really important to create and just leave this place a better world than you found it can be my goal. I don't People can do whatever they want. I don't know. But for me, I like to live, create. I volunteer, at Save the Animals Foundation. Everybody should adopt a pet. If you're watching this, come see me.
Yeah, talk a little bit about that. I know we were talking about it before we started
Okay.
recording. But
So I love this so much. This is like the best thing in my life besides my work. But this is in addition to my work because really I get so much love from these little animals that I go in there every Tuesday morning. I get there like, I don't know, 8:30 or so. I have to schedule extra time right now, early time, so I can get an extra half an hour in there to play with my favorite one. But anyway, it's just a really good thing. If you don't volunteer, you don't have a purpose, I suggest you find one. It's just good for your heart. And doing something good for the community is really important to me. Um, there's a lot of animals that don't have homes here. Adopt, don't shop. They need homes. They're great pets. And I go in there and play with them. I feed them. It's just a good organization. It's everybody cares. It's unbelievable to see the change in some of these animals' lives from how they come to us to how they leave. And it's just a positive thing to do. If you don't do anything, like I said, you should for your community because it's important and it's good vibes.
does it inspire your art when does it kind of like give you that? Or is it kind of like the separate thing? Like this is, yeah, right. The cat and the cat woman.
Sometimes it inspires my work more than you would know. But yeah, I do feel like Catwoman and I own the night, but I bring my quartz crystal in my pocket or like my tiger's eye, and then I feel like I absorb their good energy and I take it with me. So it's a give take. I give them my love and play with them and all their good energy I try to collect in my quartz crystal and take home with me to make art.
I gotta start
It
taking my
inspires my
quartz
work.
crystal out. I've got it right over there. I've got my quartz and tourmaline, something like that. Got it over there. And I think tiger's eye. Yeah, that's exactly what I have over there.
Good. Yeah, all the good vibes. And it really is. It's fun and it's really fun. They're
How
so
do
cute. I
you-
love animals. I would take them all if I could.
I was about to ask, how do you keep yourself from just wanting to adopt them all?
Because I go there every week, so I feel like they're all mine. That's how I treat it. Like I'll try to go into every single room that I can, like to play with as many as I can. And all the kittens come through me, so I get to play with all the new kittens when they get there. And yeah, the last bunch I showed you came with a wheel. Yeah, to run on. So I don't know. It's just always exciting. Every week I go in, it's something different. I came last week. There was this little tiny puppy that I guess it's a Saint Bernard, looks like one. A tiny thing somebody left in a box at Dollar General. So we got it. And it's just like you come in every week, there's something different. What the vets do there is unbelievable. Their names are Lauren and Jess. Shout out to you. But they change these cat lives around and we take it's a non-kill shelter. So we get everything and rehabilitate them and find them homes. Hopefully that's my goal. I try to get as many adopted as I can. They're awesome. And the ones that have been living in a shelter, I think make really good pets. They know that you saved them. You know what I mean? So I really think that, but I'd have 100 if I could. I just try to refrain from getting too attached.
Yeah. Yeah. I can imagine that would be, I would have a tough time like letting go, and especially like,
Yeah, but everyone's like, oh, I would help, but I feel so sorry. It's like, yeah, well, that is why I help because I feel sorry. Like, I want to make a difference in this world. I want to help whatever cause that I can personally. You know, I want to do something that literally you get nothing back from except love, good energy, things like that from these animals. You know what I mean?
yeah, that's so important. Do you, wow. Yeah, it just you made me just think about my old cat that my cat
Oh,
Frederick, and she was the best. And I found her. She just I got home from the studio one day and I was walking up my steps and there was this little orange kitten and just on my porch, and I was like, I guess I have a cat now. It was very quick. It was very
they
quick. I
find
scooped it up
you.
and I was just like, yep. And so now I'm kind of tied to that. I'm kind of tied to like, and she was the best. Oh my gosh. She slept with me every night. She was just so cool. Like when I would just like make music in my room and stuff, and she'd be like sitting on the back of the chair.
Aw.
And now I'm kind of like tied to, oh well, if I get another cat, then it's gonna have to just show up. It'll have to be
I
that
get
same
that.
situation.
Yeah, they pick you. So, I mean, that's a good way to go. Maybe you'll find one today. Put it out there.
Do you have any of your art in the shelter? Do you do any paintings for them?
Yeah. A few of the rooms I graffiti, they're all like graffitied cat phrases. It's on my IG if you ever are bored. But yeah, it like the whole room, one of the whole rooms is like all cat phrases like catch you later and you are perfect and just graffitied all the walls. But it room looks really cool. Two of them. And yeah, so I do have artwork in the shelter and more to come, actually.
That's awesome. I mean, it kind of goes back to like what you said about just making like the space brighter. Because you can imagine if you walked into a shelter and it was just all white walls or anything else, it'd be
So
so boring.
our rooms are really cool. Like all the volunteers have done a great job. The ones that like art, they have done rooms. The place is really, it's awesome. And bringing the art, that's a great point. Because bringing that art, when I got there wasn't that, right? And now there is. Now there's art
Really.
literally everywhere. There's a girl, Lauren, that's a volunteer that does these like little mini drawings of all the cats, and they're in front of like each room. So yes, I think creation inspires others to create that feel that way in their heart, but they don't know how to express it. Or, oh wow, it's okay to make stuff. I don't know why people think it's not, but it's okay to suck. It's great to suck, actually. Artists go through their whole life. You become really good, good, and then you start wanting to create like a child because that becomes the goal. That becomes what becomes challenging to you is not thinking so in the world and realistically. It's what was I thinking when I was a kid? What was I thinking when I did that pig? You know what I mean? What was I thinking? Because that was like the best painting that I can think of to date. So that's a great example of why. But I mean, yeah, paint like a child. I think Degas said that. Paint till you paint like a kid again, something like that. But it's true. And
I think
yeah,
that extends out past painting, but just like living in general.
yeah,
Like if
abs.
I know that for me in my story, like I didn't get into music until my 20s. And if I look back when I was 5, 6, 7 years old, I'm like, oh yeah, I did want to be like in performance art and be like singing or making music or theater or any of these things. And I tried out for a play when I was in 4th grade and I didn't get the part, and that was that. Like I didn't ever try again. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
and I focused on sports and playing baseball, and that was got me to. I also loved baseball and got me to play at high levels, but coming back to like really locking in on what you said, it's like, where was I when I was a kid? What did I care about when I was a kid? And the more that I tap into that, the more authentic I feel. You know?
Yeah.
And it's interesting as we get older, it's like there's this sense of like, oh, I'm this old, I should look this way, I should dress this way, I should act this way. And it's like I have to remind myself that like none of that is even real. It's just like fake
Oh,
thing
not real.
about how people should be, and it's really just about self-expression. And I find the more that I try to fit myself into what I should be,
Okay.
the more distance that I have from myself. And I end up searching even deeper into like, where am I, you know?
Yeah.
And then it comes out in the art. It comes out in the music. It comes out, when I paint, or now I've started like painting my clothes and stuff and just trying to like do some like different things
Yeah.
to have fun. And that's really like kind of what it comes down to. It's like probably what you were thinking when you were painting that pig was just about having fun, you know?
Yeah. I think you're right. And I love art, and art is fun. So keep painting your clothes. I love that for you.
Yeah, I've definitely been in a little bit of a self revolution in the last handful of months, and
Good.
yeah, musically and creatively, and just in life in general. And you're right, it's like finding that balance of technique and understanding like the tools that you actually do have to get what's in your head out onto the canvas or into the song for my case, and then balancing that with not being too technical, because
Yeah.
then it's boring.
Yeah.
You know?
Just do what you want. Just be who you are. I mean, that really is the point of this life, I believe, is to find your authentic self and the things that matter to you. Doesn't matter if it matters. I don't even have a microwave. Like, I don't do mainstream. If everyone's going, you won't find me there. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not into normal things bore me. I don't know how to explain it, but like, I need to create my own fun, which I do in my own ways, like things that I really like. That's all I do are things that I like. It's I never know. I always go through a whirlwind of, oh my God, who am I? You know what I mean? Not who am I, but I'm evolving, and I'm proud of that. I'm happy about that because I'm evolving into exactly who I feel like I am and have always been, but maybe I was not ready, not, um, didn't know exactly who I was, and I still don't, and I never will. You're always figuring that out. But at least if you can be a good person and do stuff that you love, I mean, that's the point of life, living. Just enjoy it.
And that's living life as an artist, which is the kind of the whole podcast, like this whole Artist Mind podcast is exactly about that. It's about, having these conversations with artists of all different types so that we can kind of get a peek behind the curtain and maybe feel inspired just as people, whether we're quote unquote like professional artists or not. It's like kind of like you said, everybody is creative. Everybody has like access to creative outlets in different ways. And I think even just like you were saying, just choosing to live your life and do things that are fun and how you see the world, like that's all part of like creation, and that's all like an art form in itself.
Yeah, it is.
I just thought about when we were talking about the paintings for the shelter. I was like, the one painting that you and I worked on together, it's in a hospital, right? That's what happened to.
Oh, yes. Yes, it is. Mercy help. Yep. Uh-huh. Good job.
Yeah, I remember coming over and you showed me the gesso and everything, like
Yeah.
the full
You
process.
did great.
We didn't know it was going to the hospital when we
I
started
didn't
it.
either. It was in the
But
background of some video that I was making, and the person was like, "Can I please purchase that? I need it for this space or whatever." And I'm like, "Sure."
which
It's
is
not even
awesome.
done yet.
Which
That's
is
the problem
awesome.
with putting stuff in the background that's not finished. People still, yeah, take it. Didn't even do anything yet. We didn't do
It didn't have the
sure.
most layers. It had one or two
It
of
is
them.
good.
No, but
Which
it's cool to think about because it's just that
makes
little,
sense.
even like you're saying, like, oh, it was just kind of like a thing in the background, but now it's actively like doing something to help people who are sick. Honestly, like I mean, it's in a hospital, so they're gonna look at that and hopefully feel something and
Yeah.
rejuvenated in some sort of way, or inspired, or
Yeah.
you
Just
know,
breaks life.
which yeah, oh, so cool. You've had your paintings in a lot of really awesome places. What
Oh man.
what would
Yeah.
you say is like top 3 places where your paintings exist?
I don't know. Wait, I'd have to think about that one. Like that one, it should have been a write down. Uh,
You got one at Ruby's, right?
coolest places. No, because it's in Mr. Ruby's. It's at Mr. Ruby's. It's not at the restaurant
That's
or
even
any of them.
that's kind of cool, right? Private collection.
Coolest places? I don't know. I really don't. And I really don't. Sometimes I forget that that people have some of my work sometimes. Like, honestly, once it's gone, I don't really ever think about it again.
Yeah.
I don't. I just don't. And sometimes I see pictures. I'm like, oh my God, I did that. Like I did the E&O restaurant in Loveland, that whole place. That's pretty sick. That was a huge project and I just loved doing it. That was a lot of spray paint and it was awesome to do. It was just a nice, like good project to work on. It was such a large space and it was like, wow, you're going to let me do whatever I want. I mean, I had to write a certain thing, but you're going to let me do whatever I want on this whole, and I had to do the ceiling, which was fun. But I mean, there's just, I don't know. We have to come back to that one. I can't think about that. It's a lot to think about. Everywhere that there is a painting that is mine, and I always forget where they end up going, and sometimes they get sold or whatever happens after. But sometimes when I see them, I'm like, oh my God, I like that. Oh, that's mine. It like catches my eye. And then like, oh, I totally forgot about that. I mean, you give art away for 20 years to people. It's hard to remember, impossible. But I do see my stuff and I always think like, I still like that. You know what I mean?
That's funny. I do the same thing with music. I'll be like going through beats or whatever, and I'll be like, oh damn, like this is kind of cool. Like who did this one? And I look, I'm like, oh shit, like I did. That's cool. You know,
You just forget. You make so much stuff. It's like, it's just, once it's out of the whole point of me making art is get things out of my mind into some kind of tangible thing, I guess. It's just like I broke up with this guy. I didn't want to cry, right? So I don't cry that much, but I didn't want to cry at all. It wasn't worth my tears. So I did about 50 crying girls. I mean, I have a ton of them. I got some right here, but then I made all this artwork cry and I felt like I didn't have to, and I didn't. You know what I'm saying? Because I put that emotion into that. I was sad each one I did. I was like, man, I'm sad. But I got it out till I was done. And then I was literally over the whole thing. I couldn't even think about it anymore. It didn't matter. You know what I'm saying? Once I have, the great way to express yourself is putting it out there and letting it release from you, whether it's a happy thought or sad or whatever it is. But if it's inside, it can definitely come out, you know, and that's the whole point of trying to use your process to have these built emotions come out into actual physicality, something that's real, that you can touch, that you can see, that was nothing before you did it. Just create, you know what I'm saying? Like music, art, just express yourself and you'll feel more free, I think.
the creative process is for you, and then once it's out, like kind of like what you said, once your paintings go out, it's like you stop thinking about them, and it's it's like, okay, that's for them. That's for them and the
Yes.
experience, and you have to let go, because if you're holding on to all your stuff, and everything's so precious or everything's not finished, and
Right.
you're like in the perfectionist mindset, in a sense, like it's in a way it's selfish,
Yeah.
to like hold on to everything for yourself, and to not let the process complete itself by giving it away, and releasing it into the world and allowing other people to see it and experience it. And
Yeah.
you know, I like I said at the beginning of this, like your paintings have always impacted me, just because they look so cool. They just look like, it almost is like, more than I do what techniques went into that, and like how much like actual like classical training went into making something cool. And a lot of times I feel like if I think about like classical like art and just like really, really well done stuff, it's like a little boring to me. I mean, the same thing in music.
Yeah. That camera. That's
It's just like,
photography then.
right. And that, which is his own thing. But like,
Right.
and the same thing in music, like things that are just like so technically sound
Yes.
are just kind of,
Me too. I feel the same way.
but you actually, your paintings actually do have that. They are actually technically sound, but they don't feel that way. They feel edgy. They feel a little messy. They feel real and a little bit raw and kind of torn apart in a sense. And
Yeah.
I just like, I totally love that vibe. And I know you mentioned graffiti a couple times, and
Organized chaos.
yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I like to like, oh man, anyone could do that, then do it. But it's kind of like anyone can do it background or this, or it's not anyone can do it, but just chaotic. And then also I can paint, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like but I like to use bold, like everything, because most of the time that I make art, I'm trying to say something. I've not always, but most of the time. And I think this world right now likes instant, oh, I get that. You know what I mean? I want you to. I want you to get it. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to confuse you. I don't want this to also be like a landscape photo. If you want to go look at a pond, go sit outside and look at a pond. There's no way I can recreate nature to be as beautiful as nature actually is. But my subjects are people. And when it comes to people, it's usually that things that I'm trying to say pertain to that. But I want you to see it. I want you to get it right away, or take a second to get it. But I don't want to, I'm not here to confuse you. Usually when I'm trying to say, you'll understand. I guess it's direct. But yeah, that
The most important thing. I talk about that with songwriting a lot, and I've come up with this kind of expression, or this calculation in a sense, which is expression plus understanding equals communication. And that's like what you need to connect. And so,
yes.
on one side of it, it is like us like pouring ourselves into the art and saying what we need to say. Um, but on the flip side of that, in order for people to like really connect with it, like it has to be understood.
Yeah.
It has to be able to be translated in a way that somebody else can look at it or listen to it or whatever, and get what you're trying to say and go, oh, I see you. I see you. I see the emotion. I can relate to it. I've been there. I see myself, and that's where like the communication and ultimately that connection, which is I think what we're all looking for, we express ourselves to find other people who go, oh, that's like me, or, we don't feel so alone.
Yeah. I don't do it I don't care about feeling alone. I'm never lonely. I just want it out of my mind and heart, whatever's going on. I need to get it out there, like, and not in here. I like to live as a free vessel till it gets, that you have to live life to have feelings of things,
Yeah.
but I mean, you always find your flock. I'm, when you're in the right space, you find the right people, and or they find you or whatever. But
So
yeah,
where that's perfect. Where can people find you if they want to connect with your art?
nowhere I hide. But yeah, you can find me on Instagram. I'm Kate Art 513. And yeah,
Do you
you
have a
can find
website or
me.
anything like that, or just
Yeah, I do, but I don't update it all the time. I'm not good with that kind of stuff. I do. Uh, it's imakeart513.com. Best way to get a hold of me is IG or see my work. I like to, everything is so fake now. So it's been a little bit hard for me to plug any of this social media stuff. But I did get hacked. My old Instagram got hacked like 2 years ago, which is so screwed up because everything I've ever created, every video I've ever made, which I love making videos. I really do. I love making videos. I love adding the music. I like cutting it. I like doing I like it. It's a process and I like doing it. It's creative. And so every video I ever made of every piece of art that I've ever created, gone, stolen. So I had to start over, which is fine because never be afraid to start over. I can start over at a drop of a dime, but it's just been now with AI and everything.
Yeah.
I don't know. So I do share on my stories and I make posts of everything that I'm working on or some things that I'm working on when I'm working on them, but I try to be pretty consistent there. So at least the people that do follow my art can see it on there, but I'm really not, I don't have a website to sell art and I don't want to do that at this time.
Yeah. That's, I mean,
If you know, you know,
yeah, that's, you got to be in the club. You got
Yeah,
to
it's
be in the
not
loop,
just for everyone. Just gotta find it.
which is awesome. Like, I think that's kind of got that. It's the same kind of vibe as like your paintings. It's like this kind of like counterculture, edgy, like you're not doing the thing that everybody's doing where they're slowly turning around the painting and like, this is they don't want to know painting until someone sees that. I've seen like so many of those like people like doing that thing, and I'm just like, I feel the same way when it comes to the music too. It's like it's tough because you want to share, but you also don't want to you don't want to feel like gimmicky, you know?
Yeah.
Finding that balance. But I guess you're right. It's like at the end of the day, it's really just like put your shit out there, however it is, and the people that need to find you are gonna find you.
Yeah. So like TikTok, that's a great example. That I've got I don't know, something like 55,000 followers on there. That is a great thing for me to just post a video of the art, boom, and be like, put it out there that way to the whole world. Like it's kind of hard on Instagram. I don't know. There's just a lot of weird stuff going on, a lot of fake stuff that's AI. And I just feel like art's not AI. No, it's not going to be. You can't have my thoughts. I think the more authentic that people get with their art at this time in the world, the it's going to be obsolete that people are using their mind. I feel in the future, you have Chat GPT and all this shit. People go in and ask, "What's my future going to be?" I don't know. You're sitting on your phone asking the phone what your future is going to be. Go take a walk. You know what I mean? Like, there's just no free thinking. And it's not encouraged to be a free thinker. And it never was when I was growing up. So I can't even imagine the creativity block that these kids right now are feeling. You know, it's just a different world and you have to stay true to yourself and authentic. And I'm sick of seeing fake stuff on the internet. Like, I don't like using my phone for that. I don't want to be on social media at all. I have to for my art. But in all honesty, I just want to live, make art, and do that. I don't really care about social media world. I like real world. I like real life. That's where the shit's at. That's where you're gonna find it. You're not gonna find anything there. It's a lot of trickery, especially in the art world. And that's crazy.
Well said. Well, as we get close to wrapping up here, what is one piece of advice that you have for other creatives?
Keep going. Never give up. It gets hard and things get really frustrating at times. And you're never going to think you're good at it. Just keep going. Don't stop. And
Solid.
practice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Practice, practice, practice. I mean, the more you practice, the better you get at anything. So if you feel like you're not good enough, keep drawing, keep making music, keep doing it though. Don't stop.
It's kind of the only way. You just got to keep doing it. You're never just gonna like wake up and all of a sudden just like be the best.
You're never going to feel good. That's the thing about being an artist. You're never going to feel good at what you do. You just have to realize that's part of it.
That's That's the
You're not
advice right
finished,
there.
but you're still good at it.
Like when you
Yeah.
feel like you suck, you're on the right track. If you're like, I'm
Yes.
terrible, like you're on the right track.
So my advice would be just suck.
Yeah.
Just suck. Just do it. Because eventually you won't suck. But you always think you do. But to others, yeah. I mean, there's progression there. Practice and you'll see progress. And keep going.
Love
It's
that.
worth it.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining
Thank you.
Artist Mind Podcast. I always love getting to talk to you and getting to share your art with the viewers here of the Artist Mind community is really inspiring.
Having me.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And the recording here. And we'll catch you on the next episode of the Artist Mind Podcast.